So let's go to Maggie, who joins us in Chicago, Illinois. Maggie, how can we help?
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call.
You bet.
I'm really glad it's you instead of Dave today because I have a credit card question.
Hold on a second. Hold
rare.
on a sec. I've never heard a caller say that before. This is fantastic.
Opposite, Dave.
I want to revel in this for just one moment. Okay, that's enough.
Dave, are you listening?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So here's my question. I know credit cards are bad. I totally get the philosophy behind it. I 100% get that. But all of our main fixed bills come out the first half of the month. So when we get paid twice a month, if we pay everything the way we're supposed to, we really don't have money left for our day-to-day stuff, our groceries, the kids' stuff that pops up, all that, until we would get paid the second half of the month. So what ends up happening is we just kind of put everything on the credit card, do our fixed bills out of the first paycheck, and then credit card and, a couple other things out of the second paycheck. So it works, but I know that I could be saving more money if I wasn't pulling out the plastic, if I had cash for everything. I just can't come up with enough cash to make that work. Does that make sense?
It does, but this is just a budgeting issue.
Yeah.
And you need a little buffer in the checking account, and then we need to start budgeting for those bills. We know when they're coming in. And you can actually call a lot of these companies and set a certain date of the month when you want to pay those bills.
I also wonder, Maggie, before you respond to George on that, is this also an income issue?
No, I mean, we're fine. We're debt-free. We're working on paying off the house early. I just think it's kind of set up in a way. And I've always done I do the bills, so I've always just kind of done the credit card and then just pay that off instead of, and I do take cash out. I should say that too. Like the first of the month when we get paid, that's going to be the mortgage and, the insurance that we put aside and those kind of things. And then I do take out I take out cash for groceries. I take out cash for, some cash, but I feel like there's always something that I'm putting on the credit card anyway, whether it's, my kids are in sports. So it's like, oh, well, we just lost my football gloves at practice. Okay, well, we got to run out to Dick's and get more batting or, football gloves or, there's always something that I end up.
So it sounds like there's things outside of the budget that catch you off guard.
It is.
It's not bills.
It is.
Because you said there's certain
bills.
bills.
What I do is I have a bunch of sinking funds. So then I will just transfer, we have a kid's account. So, we put the money in the kid's account. And then if I have to buy those gloves, then I'll transfer money over. But I just feel like as well as I think we're doing with money, I feel like I still have that problem where if I didn't have the credit card as kind of a catch-all, that we would be, stuck in certain times of the month.
Well, it sounds like this credit card has become a crutch and a safety blanket.
Yeah.
So I think if we cut that bad boy up and we have a little bit of buffer in our checking account and we start to get this budget dialed in, we figure out when the bills are coming in, and we use our previous income to pay for future expenses, that would solve all of these problems, right?
Yeah, so how does that work? Because that's, we kind of do the zero. My husband always wants to put a little extra in the checking account for that reason, but then I feel like if there's extra in there, then we're going to go through it when we should be at a zero-based
Well,
budget.
you need some zero-based doesn't mean you have $0 in your checking account. It means that you've assigned every dollar a job as far as your income goes. So you definitely need to have a buffer in your checking account. Maybe that's $500. Maybe it's a $1,000 buffer in there. But again, that's on you of self-discipline to go, we're not going to touch it. $1,000 is basically zero. That's our starting point. And I think that will help you alleviate some of these credit card habits to go spending. And make sure Junior doesn't lose his glove.
Well, you can't do that, George.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
13-year-old boy, I'm over it.
Thank you.
She's done with it.
You guys want him for the next 5 years?
I feel your pain, Maggie.
It's on him to pay for that.
Yeah, well, there you go, George.
Totally.
She can't control
that. He's got a much better life.
Lose one glove, shame on me. Lose two, shame on you.
Yeah, well, Maggie, George has no kids, okay? He doesn't understand the pain that you and I are dealing with every
I understand
day.
Personal responsibility, Ken.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Do you? We'll see how you understand that when your kid loses everything.
Anyways, Maggie, I think this is part budgeting issue. And it's part a scheduling issue, figuring out when the bills are coming in. So if you know those bills are catching you off guard, let's schedule them and say, hey, electric company, I want to pay on the 15th instead of the 4th.
Yeah.
And you can set all those dates.
That's the other thing. My husband we went from a 1st and 15th to his company switched to every other week, which has totally been throwing a wrench in the works because to try and, we have our money that goes out, into savings at a certain time every month, and that's become an issue because if it gets paid one day later, it's like, oh, now I got to go back and change everything.
You guys are debt-free, so why not have 1 month full of expenses ready to go in the checking account? That way you're not stressing about if you're going to have enough. And so that can be a budgeting strategy that helps a lot of folks to be a whole month ahead so you're not wondering if you're going to have enough. But again, the better strategy is to do a rock-solid budget. Use your previous income from that check is going to pay the future expenses.
Yeah. And I don't want the audience to miss what George said because it's really true. It's a simple little hack. Most companies will work with you if you just call them up and go, hey, I'm going to put this on auto pay. They love that. So you've already got them at that point. So here's my debit card. Let's auto pay. But instead of hitting me on the 4th of the month or the 3rd, I'd like you to hit me on the 20th or this 18th if I get paid. They'll work with you on that. Stacy and I have had to do that multiple times because the way we get paid here as well. It's just kind of like, hey, and it's fine. They'll work with you. And that way you get things a little bit more uniformed and laid out that way. So that's a great hack.
And a lot of them let you do it on your own online. So look into that. If not, give them a call, email them, whatever you got to do.
You strike me as a guy who has everything auto pay.
100%.
Like you get a text all the time going, Mr. Camel, you've just paid your electric bill.
Yes. Now, it's twofold. I put it on auto pay, but I don't just let it go and not know what my bills are. So I get the email.
Yeah, of course.
I put everything on paperless because you know me, I'm a millennial. I don't want it paper. What do I do with this paper?
I know. You really
now
have a bad
litter
attitude
the
towards
earth.
paper. Yeah.
Not here. Even the papers on the desk stresses me out. So I get the email so I know what the bill is so that I don't
hear
get
that, George?
Oh, I can't stand it,
That's
Ken.
the paper.
All of America wants you to stop doing that.
I don't know. I think the people in the lobby are laughing. They like the sound of the paper crinkling. It's a win.
We got to mention putting things on autopilot, on auto pay, doesn't mean we're not paying attention.
I think that's right. Good point.
So we have to know, hey,
what's your system?
The bill was twice as much this month. You don't want that to sneak up
on
you.
So do you get an email every time? That's what I was saying. Do you get an email or text? That's what I was assuming you get.
Exactly. So the electric bill, I get the email at the end of the month saying, hey, here's what the bill's going to be. And I go, cool, that sounds about right. And it's on auto pay. So I don't have to think about it. I don't have to get, one of those late collection bills in the mail. Not dealing with that. So I'm a big fan of auto pay, but you got to pay attention still.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when you hear that phone call like that, sometimes people just feel like they have to play by everybody else's rules. And, you don't have to because companies want to get paid.
Your system is broken. And I talked with our friend Craig Rochelle about this on the Entree Leadership podcast recently. It's time for a new system.
Yeah.
And that means replacing the old broken system and the old bad habits and replacing it with good, healthy habits. And that might mean having a buffer in the checking account. It may mean scheduling your bills to hit on a certain day.
Right.
And it's those simple little things that really give you confidence in the plan and go, oh, I can do this thing. I can cut up the cards. I don't need them. They were a crutch. They were a safety blanket. Yeah. So if that's you, America,
I agree.
It's time for a new system.
Well, and the theme here is underneath all of this is that you can control certain things. Take control of what you can control. And you can control your budget. You can control your planning. You can control the date by which you pay the bills. These are all things that you can control.
And that's really the Ramsey message at its core.
I mean, it is. It really
is. You can
is.
take control.
Yeah.
You got this.
I'm curious that when your electric bill spikes, is it because of the incessant hair drying?
That's
if you have more than one shower in a day?
It's about 4 minutes a day, Ken.
Yeah.
You know.
Little things about George that you find when you go on a retreat with him. He dries his hair with a blow dryer before going to bed.
Hey,
folks.
this volume doesn't just happen on its own, Ken.
Yeah, his room, Kelly, was next to mine. He's blow drying his hair at 11 o'clock
Let's not talk
at
about
night.
your snoring, Ken. That's a whole other topic.